very proud of the way that we fought this election campaign. We did not descend into the gutter. We did not undertake personal abuse. We undertook the task of getting a message of hope and justice to every part.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. We are going to take a look at a clip from the Andrew Marr show, where he is talking to none other than John McDonnell, hoping of course to get an apology from him for the unmitigated disaster that was the election, because it seems the Labour leadership has not learnt a single lesson from the absolute obliteration on Thursday night. Now, John does apologise, but within less than a minute is back to blaming everyone else, and when provided with evidence of the reasons Labour voters went to the Tories this time round, he completely ignores it because he does not like the cold hard fact the Corbynated chicken was more off-putting than the Labour Party's batshit crazy Brexit policy. Talk about digging that hole deeper and deeper. It does not matter who leads the Labour Party if they continue down this delusional path of ignoring evidence because it does not suit you or your ideology. Bit like the rabid Ramoning crybabies on Twitter in absolute shit fits because Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister, and of course they don't like it. So let's see old McDonnell contradict himself and ignore evidence much like they did throughout the election campaign.
When I talked to him at his home in West London yesterday, I put it to him that this election had been an unmitigated disaster for his party and asked, would he take the blame?
It certainly was, yes, it certainly was.
And
it was catastrophic.
Catastrophic. But what nobody has yet heard is a proper apology. Anybody at the top of the party saying, yes, this is on us.
Okay, let me make it clear then. It's on me. It's on me. Let's take it on the chin. I own this disaster. So I apologise. I apologise to all those wonderful Labour MPs who've lost their seats, who worked so hard. I apologise to all our campaigners, but most of all, I apologise to those people who desperately need a Labour government. And yes, you know, if anyone's to blame, it is me. Full stop.
So you think it's starting out well for the Labour Party and old McDonnell here? Maybe they have learned some lessons from the mauling they got on Thursday. Maybe they have turned a corner. I mean, he actually admits it was his fault, which could lead you to think, okay, they might recover from this. Maybe everyone who is not a rabid socialist needs to be worried about the Labour Party understanding their mistakes and possibly trying to rectify it in the hopes of getting power at the next election. He apologises to the MPs who got drained from the swamp, the activists who wasted their time campaigning, and of course the scroungers of the country who needed some more freebies in life. Because God forbid these people have some ambitions and try to get somewhere on their own. As we all know, Labour wants them in the gutter and reliant on the state to keep on giving the vote to these lunatics. Obviously I'm joking about this idiot turning a corner. This is John McDonnell we are talking about. His blaming himself ends here, as does any hope the Labour Party can bring back the people who voted for the Tories this time, because guess what? He is still not listening to what the ex-Labour voters are actually saying. It's wonderful. John has to let the shit weasel in him come out, because of course he can only hide it for a few moments.
According to the polling of Labour voters who defected in this election to the Tories, it says for about 31%, Brexit was the biggest issue, but for 45%, it was the Labour leadership itself. Jeremy Corbyn, I know he's an old friend and a comrade, but he went down very, very badly on the doorstep.
Look, we have to recognise, I think it was Brexit that did us. We were in this horns of a dilemma. We couldn't move either way, or if we did and we tried the compromise, it didn't work. That's the first thing.
Well, you heard it yourself. Andrew Marr quoted a poll of former Labour voters that said only a third voted against Labour this time because of its policy on Brexit, but 45% voted against Labour because of Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell and the rest of the incompetent fuckpigs that make up the Labour Party these days. It's infected with something worse than the Black Death, and it seems to be such a shock to this Dimlow that he doubles down on the Corbynista bullshit that it was everyone else but the Corbynated chicken who cost them the election. Like others have said, the Labour Party and its leadership is now a cult, not a political party. I mean, Marr tells him the figures from Labour voters, and still this idiot says nope, fuck what Labour voters or former Labour voters say, they are racist, hateful gammon. It was just Brexit or anything else other than the real reasons. I love how he starts off his response with "we have to recognise" before stopping dead in his tracks, because I think he realised the only thing he can say after that is that Corbyn cost us the election, and of course we know he can't say that just yet, if he ever will. But personally, I think he went to tell the truth there, remembered he is not allowed to, and then just tried to deflect and deny what the British people are telling him once again. I absolutely fucking love the situation we have found ourselves in. Watching these people continue to ignore the voters' message that is loud and clear brings warm feelings to my heart. But that was only the first thing he blames. He is not finished yet. This is a Labour MP in 2019 we are talking about. It's time to double down on one of the most laughable claims of this election. Let me know if you guess it before you see the clip.
The second, we have to recognise that, look, the media did a number on Jeremy for 4 years solid, every day. Let me just finish this. Every tack, every smear was going on. And they transposed someone who I know is a man of honesty and principle into someone demonised in a way no other politician on this scale has been done before. And I deeply regret that.
Did you guess? I had been waiting for it. Only took him a couple of minutes, but of course he blames the media for doing a number on Jeremy Corbyn. Maybe you should blame Jeremy Corbyn, John, you degenerate spunk trumpet, or perhaps even the Labour membership who put him there as leader. I'm sure it was common knowledge back then this guy has spent his political career, in the words of former Labour Minister Drax Straw, playing footsie with the likes of Hamas, Hezbollah and the provisional IRA, you tosspot. It's not the media's fault Corbyn is a well-known supporter of anyone who wants to do this country or its citizens harm. To John and his delusional Corbynistas, the media is biased against the Corbynated chicken and the Labour Party, which we all know is absolute bollocks. My channel has torn apart the never-ending anti-Brexit, anti-democracy coverage that has been pumped out by the Remainstream media. Hence, it's now called the Remainstream media, not mainstream media. It's what these cultists do though. Blame everyone else but themselves for their utter unelectability and complete stupidity. I mean, Corbyn is the most hated Labour leader in its history. So I guess the greatest election defeat since 1935 is fitting. But let's check out the final clip though, because John McDonnell's delusions are not finished yet.
And yet, he was also seen directly by huge numbers of people through his media performances on television and radio. People did see him, and they did get a sense of him. Let me read you what one former MP, Anna Turley, who was the MP for Redcar, said. And she's quite typical of what a lot of your ex-MPs are saying. She said, for every time that Brexit was raised on the doorstep, the leadership was raised 4 times. Even by those sticking with us, there was visceral anger from lifelong Labour voters. They felt they couldn't vote for a party they'd supported all their lives because of, quotes, that man at the top.
2 issues there. One is, actually, I do blame the media. I know people say, oh, he's just blaming the media, but look at the evidence of the last few years, the way in which Jeremy has been treated in the media. Secondly, on the broadcast media, when he had the opportunity to broadcast media, actually it's interesting in the polling, he was seen as the most trustworthy of the candidates. The person, let me just say, on this polling point, they're also the person who is most in tune with people's day-to-day concerns. I don't think we had the opportunity through the broadcast media that we had right the way through the last 4 years. So, yes, I think the portrayal of Jeremy was unfortunate. Also, of course, some members of our own team were attacking him for a period, but that settled down as we went into the campaign overall.
Well, Andrew Marr is trying to teach old McDonnell again. This time, given evidence provided by a Labour MP who lost the Redcar seat to the Tories, stating for every one person who could not support Labour due to Brexit, there was 4 who could not stand electing a terrorist sympathising Marxist shitweasel. Because regardless of what Labour might think, the Northerners of this country are not stupid gammon that will ignore the fact your leader is a security risk to this nation and your party's stance is anti-democratic, so they won't vote for you. Even with your fantastical policies which only lead to recession, job losses and years of austerity, the North has grown wise to their bullshit and won't put up with their lies anymore. This is Labour's problem. They seem to think the Northern voter is stupid, and they've now been shown that they're not. But John McDonnell is still not listening. He finishes up that clip with the delusion that based on the televised leaders' debate polls, which put Corbyn as more trustworthy than Boris, the Labour Party should have won. Do you actually know what polls he's talking about? Because it's not YouGov polls. It's a fucking Twitter poll done by the media during and after the debates. So once again, Labour are using Twitter as a metric to gauge what the country actually thinks. Please continue, you absolute fucking idiot. Twitter will tell you all you need to know about the electorate, you muppet. This is why I don't think Labour stand any chance of being elected for at least another 15 years. Maybe then what Twitter says might reflect the country. I wouldn't bank on it though. But on that note, I am going to end the video there. His blaming himself and the leadership lasted about 40 seconds before it goes back to the usual Labour line, blaming everyone else, the media, and of course, thinking Twitter speaks for the rest of the country when it really doesn't, and they should have learnt from this election. I absolutely love it. I guess it's true that you really can't teach stupid, can you? Now, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell, and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. and I'll see you all in the next one.
This Parliament is a dead Parliament. It should no longer sit. It has no moral right to sit on these green benches. They don't like the truth. Twice they have been asked to let the electorate decide upon whether they should continue to sit in their seats, while they block 17.4 million people's votes. This Parliament is a disgrace. But they're too cowardly to give it a go. But the time is coming. The time is coming, Mr. Speaker, when even these turkeys won't be able to prevent Christmas.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.